本次会议为您提供中英2个语种的同声传译，同传设备在您的座椅上。频道1为中文，频道2为英文。您可以根据大屏幕的提示，选择相应的频道收听。
Simultaneous interpretations for Chinese and English will be provided. You could find the device on your chair. Channel 1 is Chinese and Channel 2 is English.Please follow the instructions on the screen and choose your preferred channel to tune into.
本次会议为您提供中英2个语种的同声传译，同传设备在您的座椅上。频道1为中文，频道2为英文。您可以根据大屏幕的提示，选择相应的频道收听。
Simultaneous interpretations for Chinese and English will be provided. You could find the device on your chair.Channel 1 is Chinese and Channel 2 is English. Please follow the instructions on the screen and choose your preferred channel to tune into.
我们的发布会即将开始，请大家就座，并将手机调整为静音模式。 欢迎李保东秘书长入场。
Secretary
Let's
General
warmly welcome
Li
Mr.
Baodong.
Li Baodong, the Secretary General of Boao Forum for
Please.
Asia.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome you again here, and good to see you. We welcome all our new and old friends to this press briefing. I will be conducting today's press briefing. So today's press briefing, we will be having two portions. The first will be a briefing by the Secretary General, Mr. Li Baotong, who will make announcements about today's annual conference and give a comprehensive description of the events which will be taking place. The second phase will be the two reports, which is a routine for Boao Forum for Asia. Every year we publish two reports. So my colleague, Vice President of BFA Academy, Sao Li, will preside that session. So first of all, please allow me to welcome Secretary General Mr. Li Baotong to make his remarks and share the briefing about the annual conference of this year. Secretary General Mr. Li Baotong.
Thank you, Mr. Zafar, for your introduction. So, since most of the media friends are Chinese, and so I'm going to give you a presentation in Chinese. 各位媒体朋友
Dear friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen,
看到今天来了这么多我们
it's
媒
my
体的朋友
great pleasure to see so many of you present here
大
today.
家上午好
A very good morning to you all.
博亚洲论坛
Well, Boao Forum for Asia
博亚洲论坛2024年
Annual
年会
Conference 2024 is officially inaugurated today.
今天是自新冠疫情爆发
Since
以
the
来
outbreak of the
论坛
last
首次
pandemic,
举
the
行
COVID-19
全线下
pandemic,
的
it is the
最重要的是不
first
戴口罩
fully on-site annual conference without
线
masks.
下的年会。在这充满希望的春天，我们
In the season of spring, which is full of hopes and promises, it's our great
在
pleasure
博鳌再次迎接来自世
to
界
greet
各地的朋友们。
friends from all over the world
在
in
此，我代表博
Boao.
鳌亚洲论坛
Hereby,
秘书处
on behalf of
对
the
各位嘉宾的到
Foreign
来，
Secretariat,
表示
I would like to
热烈
extend
欢迎。
warmest welcome to all of you for coming.
也欢迎我们媒体朋友们
Warmest welcome to you all, media friends, to come to and cover
今年时隔
our annual
10多年
conference.
中国全国人大
More than 10
常委会
years later, the chairman of the NPC Standing Committee of China once again will attend the annual conference on behalf of the Chinese government. We
重要的演讲
would expect Chairman Zhao Leji to give an important speech at the forum while interacting with some participants. We're very glad to have invited President Tokayev of Kazakhstan,
总统
President
阿迪昂
Ardian of
斯
Nauru,
里兰卡总理
Prime Minister
纳瓦德纳
Gunawadana of
多
Sri
米尼
Lanka,
克总理斯凯利特
Prime Minister Skerrit of
柬埔寨
Dominic,
柬埔寨国王顾问团主席洪
Chairman Han Sang of the Council of Advisors to the King of Cambodia,
董洪森
Director General Darren Tang of WIPO WIPO,
出席
and the Secretary General
开幕式
Coleman of
并发表
OECD
重
to
要的
attend the
演讲
opening ceremony and give
参与各国
speeches
论
at the
坛讨
opening
论的
ceremony.
嘉宾
And our
也是来自
discussants and panelists come
政
from
商学界的精
the
英
very
和各行
top-notch
各业的佼佼
elites
者。
from government,
据初步
business,
统计，今年共有
academia,
来自
and various
60多
industry
个
and
国家和
sectors.
地区的
Now we're going to have
近2000
nearly
名
2,000 attendees from
以及来
60
自
plus
40
countries
多个
and
国家和
regions,
地区的
as well as
将近170这个家的 媒体机构
170 plus media organizations from roughly 40 countries
记者朋友们参加
with
今年的年会。
1,100 plus journalists to attend the annual conference. In addition to the state and government leaders mentioned above, we have 70 plus ministerial and above level officials and ex-officials to attend the annual conference. And also we have leaders of 70 international and regional organizations together with a host of business leaders, scholars, and media leaders to participate in the discussions of the annual conference of this year. We're going to be themed with Asia and the world, common challenges, shared responsibilities. At present, there is a multiplicity of challenges in the present-day world with sluggish economic growth, complex and turbulent international circumstances, frequent outbreaks of natural disasters and extreme weather events, as well as urgent need for better global governance. All those developments have mounted numerous challenges to development security of the world, as well as the far-reaching implications for global economic and political paradigm. At the same time, the global economy is walking out of the shadow cast by the pandemic. New growth drivers as a result of science and technology innovations are becoming more and more pronounced. In this context, the elements for peace, development, and cooperation are growing stronger and stronger with a louder and louder voice, representing strong aspirations. In the global village today, only when the international community work together to confront those challenges while shouldering shared responsibilities with strengthened cooperation, will the world be able to continue on the track of peace and prosperity. World Forum for Asia would like to use this annual conference to brainstorm, cement consensus, drive unity and solidarity for Asia and the rest of the world, and write a new chapter for the better future of mankind as a community of a shared future. The development of Asia and the world cannot succeed without hard work from every participant. Only with solidarity and unity will we be able to surmount the difficulties and create a better future. We have a 4+1 structure for the topics of this annual conference, namely the world economy, science and technology innovation, social development, international cooperation, and common challenges, whereby we will cope with the challenges altogether. For the first 4 modules, focusing on different topics and aspects, there will be in-depth analysis of the challenges and opportunities confronting Asia and the world, with discussions focusing on common interests and shared responsibilities of development in the world. And for the 5th module, the different panelists will offer their perspectives on how to strengthen cooperation while confronting challenges. The 5th module consists of a host of bilateral dialogues and business leader roundtables to talk about stability, peace, security, and other imperatives, including economic security that we all face, with discussions covered by those 5 areas of topics. We are going to increase our consensus. On the one hand, sustainable development represents the shared interests of all countries, and on the other hand, we have a shared responsibility to strive for solidarity and cooperation. Dear friends, the hosting of the annual conference cannot succeed without tremendous support from our partners. Over the past several years, despite sluggish global growth, despite numerous difficulties, many businesses, companies have displayed strong momentum of growth. But they are under pressure and facing difficulties as well. Despite all those challenges, as always, our partners have provided precious support for BFA. With the resumption of on-site conference, our partners will be able to participate in our activities in a
论坛24
broader
年
and more engaging way.
2024年
Now, let me
年
talk
会的
about
合
our
作伙
list
伴
of
有
partners for Annual Conference 2024.
荣誉战略合
For
作伙
honorary
伴
strategic
沙
partners,
特基础
we
工
have
业公司
SABIC
五粮液集团，
and Wuliangye.
战略合作伙
For our
伴
strategic partners,
上汽通用
we
汽车
have
有限公司、
SGM Buick,
澳大利亚 FMG 集团、
Fortescue,
vivo
Vivo,
英国阿斯利康。
and AstraZeneca.
钻石合作伙伴
For diamond
韩国的
partners, we have SK,
韩国三星、
Samsung,
中国内蒙古伊利实业集团股份有限公司、
Ely,
中国能建集团、
Energy,
美国
China
拉斯维加斯金沙集团。金牌合作伙
and
伴
Sands.
小罐茶、
For gold partners, we have
椰树
Xiaoguancha, Deloitte,
海南农
Coconut
垦
Palm,
集团。银
and
牌合作伙伴
HSF. For silver partner, we have MNG.
指定服饰
For
凡斯诺。
designated costume
在此，我代
provider,
表
we
论坛
have
再次向
Vecino.
年会的合作
Now,
伙
on
伴
behalf of
表示衷心
BFA,
的
I
感
would like to
谢。
extend the sincerest thanks to all of our partners supporting our annual conference.
今天发布会的另外一项重要的内
Another
容
important part of the press conference
大家期待已
today
久的。
is also
是
long
论坛旗舰
awaited the launch of our two
这一份
flagship
报告是
reports.
关于亚洲经济前景
We have a flagship report on Asian economic outlook and integration progress, which is a traditional
那
flagship
么第二份
report
报告
from BFA.
是论坛连续第
Second
4年
one,
发布的
for
可
fourth
持续
year
发
on a
展报
row,
告，
we are unleashing sustainability
是通过零碳
report
电力建设
with the topic of striding towards zero carbon electricity era
这
and
两份报告
bolstering
共
green
同传
development
递
in
了博
Asia.
鳌亚洲
With
论
those
坛
two flagship
继续
reports,
致力于推进亚
BFA
洲经
is
济
conveying the
化和
message
可
of our
持续发展的
commitment
声音。
to Asian economic integration and sustainable development. We would like to thank Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, UIBE, China Electricity Council, CEC, New Development Bank,
德勤中国
and Deloitte
与博鳌亚洲
China
论坛研究院
for
的
their
精诚合作。
collaboration with
我们还要
BFA
感谢
Academy.
多位外部
And
专
we
家、
also would like to thank
以及
numerous
全球绿色
external
增长研究所
experts
中基研究
and
院
global
他们对
green
报告
growth
写作给
research
指导
institutes and
和支持。
CICC
正是在
Academy
多方的
for
共同
their
努力下
tremendous guidance and support
今天
for
我
the
们
drafting
得以
of the report.
呈现
Thanks
这
to the
两
hard
份
work by
高质
all,
量的报告。
we are able to launch these two high quality
各位。
reports here today.
中英文版的
Now we have both Chinese and English versions available.
这是英文版的两份报告，向大家展示。
Please take a look.
这是博鳌亚洲论坛的智慧结晶，
This is a
我
crystallization
们与
of our
我们合作伙伴
intellectual
共同努力的结果
wisdom in partnership with our
也是我
partners.
们在座各位媒体
And
大家关心支持的
It
结
is
果。
also a result of support by all of you, our friends from the media.
亚洲经济前景及一体化进程
With
2024
regard
年度报
to
告
Asian Economic Outlook and Integration Progress Annual Report 2024, it has provided a panoramic analysis of the prospects of Asian economic development with
贸易
in-depth
生产服务投资
analysis
一体化和
into
金融融合的进程。
the process
重
of
点关注了
Asian
全球
trade, production,
价值链产
service,
品
and investment
外国直接投
integration
资新对
and
象
financial
阿塞
integration
升级前
with the risk of
全球南方
economic
经济治理
fragmentation, with the
的备
focus
受
on
关注
global
的
supply
议
chain
题。
products, FDI, RCEP upgrading,
报告
global
指出，
south
当
and
前
other governance and
地
economic
缘政
development
治冲
issues.
突
According to
持
the
续
report, with ongoing geopolitical
这
conflict
个我们都看到了，
as we can
在
see
非洲啊、中东地
in
区啊、
Africa, the Middle East, and
欧
elsewhere
洲地区啊，
in parts of
冲突
Europe,
不断。
we are having
贸易
ongoing
保护升级
conflicts
经济碎片化
with
脱钩断
more
裂的风险
protectionism and economic fragmentation. There's a greater
世界
risk
经
of
济未能
economic
回到疫情前
decoupling.
的
The global economy is yet to return to the growth trajectory it enjoyed before the outbreak of the pandemic. Before during the pandemic, many had expected the recovery to be even more robust than the status quo. But that has turned out not to be the case. The global economy is yet to return to the pre-pandemic levels, which is a normal growth trajectory. With the midst of question marks, there is greater volatility in Asian economies.
But they have also shown great resilience. The report predicts that Asian economic growth and regional economic integration will remain strong momentum in the year 2024, with very good growth prospects for China, India, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, and other Asian developing economies. Asia will continue to be the largest contributor to global economic growth. China's economy has great resilience and potential. This is the mainstay of sustainable global economic development in the post-pandemic era. The report emphasizes that Asia plays an important role in promoting an equitable and orderly world of multipolar and inclusive economic globalization. Asian countries are taking hard and soft connectivity as the focus to advance regional economic integration and support economic globalization. China's BRI and the ASEAN Connectivity Master Plan, the concept of an efficient transport corridor in the SCO member states, and the Green Development Agenda for the Arab states of the Gulf are all closely aligned with each other. The new generation of trade agreements such as RCEP, CPTPP, and the EPA promote the liberalization and facilitation of goods, services, digital and green trade and investment, lower market access standards, and enable more people to benefit from economic globalization, striding towards zero carbon electricity era, bolstering green development in Asia comprehensively takes stock of the current situation of power system and power market in Asia and analyzes the problems and challenges faced in the moving towards zero carbon power path. It looks into the future of zero carbon power and highlights the important role of international cooperation mechanisms. At the end of last year, the COP28 reached the UAE consensus, opening a new stage of accelerating the global shift away from fossil fuels and accelerating the energy transition. The zero carbon power system is the cornerstone of the energy transition. Policymakers need to strike a balance between ensuring electricity, power supply, caring for social equity, and achieving a sustainable transition is a huge challenge. Requires big efforts. We need to coordinate stakeholders, resources, and interests, and to strike a balance. Market-based power pricing mechanisms can provide an important impetus and driving force for zero-carbon power transition, and many Asian countries have accumulated rich experience in this regard. The development of Asia is an arduous task with huge energy demand and the potential for creating zero-carbon power system. Asia is rich in renewable energy and industrial raw materials, advanced production technology, and strong manufacturing capacity. In 2023, China had exported a total of 1.06 trillion yuan of 3 new products, including new electrical vehicles, lithium-ion batteries, and solar cells and panels, surpassing the trillion yuan mark for the first time in the past 5 years. Asian countries, including China, India, Japan, in the global investment in clean energy were among the top. However, having said that, we should also note that many developing countries in Asia urgently need large-scale investment in green technologies and low-carbon industries. There is an urgent need to strengthen cooperation in industries, finance, technology, and carbon markets, to name just a few. Next, we will invite the report partners to give an in-depth presentation of the report's main findings and conclusions. First, I'd like to invite Director Zhang Yuyan from CAS and Vice President from BU. Beijing University of International Business and Economics, and then the presentations would be followed by Zhou Qiangwu, Vice President of the New Development Bank, Cao Li, Vice President of BFA Academy, and Vice President Cao Li from BFA Academy will be sharing the next session. I thank all the media friends to attend and report today's press conference and continuously to follow and report the BFA annual conference various events. Warmly welcome all of you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. You have made a very comprehensive briefing. And this year's annual conference, as Secretary General has mentioned, will be represented not only by the government leaders from Asia and beyond, but also the presence of Chairman of China's National People's Congress will enhance its credibility. We have delegates from 40 countries of the world, more than 2,000 people who will be coming here. We have 70 ministerial level officials who will be attending various sessions of the conference. And now, for the next part, I think there will be two reports, as the Secretary General has mentioned. One is on the Asian Economic Outlook and Integration Progress Annual Report for the year 2024. Then we have the Sustainable Development Asia and the World Annual Report 2024, striding towards zero carbon electricity era and boosting green development in Asia. Vice President of BFA Academy, Ms. Cao Li, will move and she will invite the delegates to make the presentation on these two reports. Thank you very much and have a very good day.
Dear media friends, representatives, dear participants, a very good morning to you all. Just now, Secretary General had excellent presentation and highlights the importance and essence of the two reports. I'm Cao Li, Vice President from BFA Academy. Next, let's move to the elaboration of the two reports. First is President Zhang Yuyan from CAS, and also former Vice President from the University UIBE, and they both would present the Asian Economic Outlook and Integration Process. There are three parts of this report: outlook and also the challenges and outlooks and integration processes. Welcome, Vice President Zhang Yuyan. Thank you. Madam Cao, dear media friends and participants, good morning. I'm very delighted and honored on behalf of my team to give you a brief introduction on the Asian Economic Outlook and Integration Progress. Later on, my colleague would share with you on the integration part I will talk more on the economic outlook
刚才呢，
part.
保东秘书长呢已经做了一
As
个非常
Secretary General Li Baodong
时间不长，但是非常精炼的
made
介绍。
a very brief, succinct summary of the economic situations
那
in
么亚
Asia.
洲经济去年呢，
Last
亚洲
year,
经济的增长，
the
增长速度呢是这个
economic growth in
4.3%， 4.3%。去年
with the rate
在
of
这个也是在这个
4.3%.
场合，那么我们当时
Last
呢
year, at the
做
same
的报告
venue,
对这个去年3月份我们对去年的
in
预测
March,
是4.5%。
we estimated the growth rate of GDP was 4.5%. So there is only an error, divergence of 0.2%. Since there are so many economies and countries in Asia, 0.2 percentage error is acceptable. We are satisfied with such a result, although we not really reached 4.5 percentage. Still, 4.3 is a hard-earning one. Last year, the global economic conditions were not so good. It was sluggish, and this year again, the world economy is facing downturn pressures. UN's estimates for this year's growth is 2.4% lower than last year. World Bank's estimates 2.4, also less than the previous year 2.6. IMF just made an amendment 3.1%. However, OECD adjusted upward of the estimation. But generally speaking, the global economy is facing downturn pressures. Our focus is on the Asian economy. According to our estimation, it is expected to be a modest increase in growth rates. Again, our growth rate estimation is 4.5%, on par with last year's estimation. Higher than last year's 4.3%. We had categorized estimation for East Asia, South Asia, Central Asia, West Asia with different percentage. I would not elaborate. According to PPP-based GDP, we can see Asia's GDP share of the global total last year was almost 50%. It was 48.5%. This year's estimation is 49%. For the macro level indicator, employment is very important. Last year, the employment rate increase, according to ILO's forecast, 2.2%. This year's global employment growth is 0.8%, slowing down. The global unemployment rate, ILO's forecast is 5.16%, slightly increased comparing to 2023. Asian countries on the whole, we also borrow ILO's data and figures. Asia's employment growth is 0.5%. Again, we divided Asian countries into East Asia, Central and West Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and Arab countries as a separate category. So, generally speaking, the overall unemployment rate in Asia will be 4.71%. Much lower than the global unemployment rate estimation, which is 5.16%, so it's not bad. We also compare the employment with revenue generation. You can see for these, we'll focus on the weekly working hours and wages. We can see different countries in Asian countries, the working duration, working hours are on the downward reduction trend, and also price is another macro level indicator. Generally speaking, in Asian countries, inflation pressures in Asia are expected to be flattened and stable. Generally speaking, the inflation situation is stabilized. This is another micro level indicator.
贸易投资呢，去年亚洲的情况不是特别好。不是特别好，它有点下滑。那么我们用的这个数据，我们看到就是按照 WTO 它的估计，那么去年的前3季度的数据，这是我们拿到最新的数据了。亚洲的货物贸易比前一年下降了9%，但是呢，服务贸易表现很不错。服务贸易呢上涨了10%。那么直接投资这一块，我们看到我们用的是联合国贸发会议的数据。那么直接投资去年全球是1.37万亿美元，比这个2022年增长了略微增长3%。关键是什么呢？流入发展中国家的。
And the FDI flowing to developing countries fell dramatically. For example, flowing to Asian funds flowing to Asian developing countries fell by 12%. That was last year. Starting from this year, those trade and investment are under pressure, but it is hopeful that the trend is going to be bucked or reversed. For example, digital trade is accelerating, tourism is recovering.
亚洲的区域全面经济伙伴关系协定，也就是大家所说的 RCEP RCEP。那么这个呢，经济这个贸易的安排，它呢继续推进亚洲价值链和产业链的重构等等这些因素应该讲是推动亚洲贸易和投资发展的重要的这个积极的一面。
Trade and investment in Asia, positive momentum. Now let's take a look at financial markets.
很多亚洲国家的股票它都是在上涨的。
Equity markets in Asia were rising at the same time for some for a basket of Asian currencies against the US dollar. It was depreciating, and the 10-year yield curve, treasury yields are dropping back. The NPL, non-performing loans ratio, is dropping for the banking sector as well. Those are all positive signals.
那么今年呢，主要是得益于经济的这个稳步复苏以及的外部货币政策。它这个紧缩步伐放缓，
pace of external monetary policy tightening.
业内人士
according to many
美国它的这个
experts and analysts
下来了以后，它是会降息
talking about the possibilities of rate cuts by the Fed after inflation is under control.
但是呢，这个紧缩政策
we don't know
放
when,
甚至可能放松，
monetary tightening is slowing down, or even will potentially be reversed. Therefore, capital market in Asia is gaining steam in a positive way.
亚洲
Now let me talk about
我们看到亚洲的整个的外部宏观经济政策环境它的不确定的因素呢，
growing number of uncertainties in the external circumstances around Asia, in particular,
货币政策。
The monetary policy of developed economy is a big question mark. On the one hand, they need to guard against inflation or rising inflation. On the other hand, they've got to be pro-growth and pro-jobs. So they are trying their best to find the right balance between the two imperatives. And then global
debt
位置。
level is
那么发达
quite
经济体
elevated.
就推行了一些
For
政策，比如
developed
说所谓的去风
economies,
险。
they
那
are
么去风险
pursuing
政策呢，这个对
de-risking
整个的
policies,
全球经济
which
会产生
would
一些负面的影响。
have some negative
那么从财政政
implications
策看
for
呢
global economy. In terms of
多
fiscal
数
policy,
亚洲国家呢，实际上还是
most
在继续
Asian
扩大财政支
economies
出。我们看到这
continue
些
to
数据
expand
你比如中国
spending.
定的
For
赤字率
example,
是3%，
the
看到一些
budget
其他国家
deficit
印度
in
是
China is
8.5%等等。
planned to be 3%,
那么货币政
and
策呢
8.5% in India.
这里面特别值
Now,
得一提的就是中国
let me say a few words about
它是稳
monetary
健的货币
policies.
政策
China is pursuing a
要灵活
prudent
适度
monetary
要精
policy
准
featuring
要有效。
flexibility,
那么日本
accuracy,
日本呢，它的
precision,
货币政策的
and
正常化已经开
effectiveness.
始了。
Japan
就在
is
前不久
normalizing
日本的央行已经宣
its
布
monetary
是吧
policy.
已经
Some
开始
days ago,
这个结束了负利率
BOJ
这个时代
announced the
这都是
termination
非常
of
重
the
要的
era
变
of
化。
negative interest rate.
无论是韩国还有这个
In Korea
它的
and
货币政策
India,
也是
their
相对的
monetary
均稳，但是呢，我们看到它不一
policies
样，
are
各个国家是
stabilizing.
不一样的。
But different
我们在这里说一
economies
下
have
政策
different
货币政策是
paces or in
差异的。
priorities
我呢
in
现在
their
就
monetary
讲到这儿
policy.
那么下面呢，请
So
我的
much
同事
for my talk. Now I want to invite
林桂君教授他来谈这个
Professor
亚洲
Lin
经济
Guijun
计划进程。好，
to talk about
谢谢大家。
Asian economic integration.
非常感谢张所长，尤其是做了这个重要的经济指标的预测
Thank
和
you
政策展望。
for your
有
prospects
请林
for
校。
policy and key policies and key economic metrics. Now, Professor Lin. Dear media friends, it's my great pleasure to have this opportunity to talk about part 2 of our report regarding an Asian economic integration.
的大致情况。那么首先呢，我们
First,
面临的环境呢是一个，我们这个数据从2022年截止到2022年。那么2022年经历了一个崩盘的时期，各种因素
have
都
witnessed
在影响全球经济
a
严重
multitude of economic,
这个贸易保护主义
geopolitical, trade protectionist, and pandemic-related issues and
全球
circumstances.
经济
So in 2022, global economy and investment and trade were full of uncertainties.
这样的环境对亚洲的一体化
And what
产生了什么样的影响？我们也许知道，这个各位媒体
Those developments
关注
impact Asian
脱欧
economic
脱钩这个问题
integration.
所以呢，我们的报告
Many media friends
花
have
了
talked
很多
about
时间和篇幅
de-linking
呢，这
or
个来
decoupling.
试图来从
So in our
用
report,
数据来回答这个问
with
题。
big
关
volume,
于
we're
亚
trying to
洲
answer those
经济的
questions
一体
with
化
data.
首先我们考察
Talking about Asian economic
几个指标
integration,
一
we
个
have
是
looked
亚
at
洲各
several
国对
key
出口的依赖
metrics.
程度。
First,
第二个是
export
亚洲
dependency
贸
by
易
Asian
的
economies.
相互依存度。
Second, mutual trade dependency between Asian
那么
economies.
第三个呢
Thirdly,
这个亚洲生产的一体化。
the integration of manufacturing or
数据的挖掘
production
中，我
in
们
Asia.
大致可以
Export reliance, trade dependency, and trade
就是截止
flows.
到2022年，
So
亚
by
洲经济
2022,
它的出口的依赖程度
the export
还是在上
reliance
升的。
of Asian economies
虽然我们
was
有贸易保护主义，
rising
有
despite
自给自
trade
足
protectionism
自力更生
and the self-reliance
这样的势头
initiatives,
贸易呢还是在
which were
相对的
rising.
这个增长。
Trade
那么第二呢，贸易的依
continued
存度
to
呢，
grow.
这个
And then
亚
in
洲
terms
自
of
身的依
trade
存度仍然保持
dependency,
在高的水平上，
Asia had a
并
high
没有
level
出
of
现
trade dependency
大的这个变化。
without
那么第三个呢，
any
大家
notable
最关心
changes
的
with
是
this metric.
产业转移怎么办？怎么
Thirdly,
来解
everybody is
释
talking about
这个
the
产业转移？
relocation of
从总体情况来
industries.
看呢，截止到2022年的这个数据，
For
那么
data
呢
by，
亚洲的这个
2022,
产业在转移
we
上
can see
确
that
实出现了这样的迹象，
there has been
那其中
relocation of
获益的国
industries
家
in Asia.
包括比如东盟，
Countries such as
比如
ASEAN
越南
countries, especially
比
Vietnam
如印度，
and
那么
India,
比如墨西哥，
and
其中
even
有一个产品
Mexico have been
是亚洲
beneficiaries.
酱，墨
For
西哥省
one product, more
从产业角度
productive
产业的视角来
capacity
看
has been
那么就是
shifted to Mexico
办
from
公用
Asia. which is office equipment. In the category of office equipment, Mexico is taking a bigger share of global manufacturing of office equipment, while Asia is producing less. In general,
在这个全球价值链这个产品上
along
在2022年
global
都
value
出现
chains,
了下跌的趋势。
China's
但是我们需要判断这个下跌
shares were
是
dropping
暂时的，
in those key categories.
还是这个
But
持久
we've got to tell
那
whether
么我们这个
that
报告给出
decline
的结论
is
是，我们认为呢，这样的下
tentative
跌
or secular. According to the conclusion of our report, it is a
其中一个
tentative
重要的证据就
in
是
nature. A very
全球价值
important
链
piece of
产品我们分成了
evidence is
22
that
最大量，
we have
亚洲是最
divided
大
the
的，
global supply chain
在
into 22
全世
categories.
界应该是最大的。
When they are
中
biggest
国
in Asia, they should be
具
biggest
备
in the
竞
world.
争优势的
And,
这22种产品里边
out of
有20
22 products, China
还是在
have competitive edges
所以
in
没有发生根
20
本
out of 22.
那么另
Therefore,
外一
I
个
don't
证
see
据
any
呢，就是我们
fundamental
发现
changes. For another
中国
or a piece of evidence
在
or
电车
proof
他们叫
in
做电动机器。
EV, electric
第二个
vehicles
呢叫电信，
and
第三个
telecommunication
呢是电池。
and batteries.
那么呢，推动了亚
China
洲产业链相互依存度的
pushed
这个增加。
up interdependency of industrial chains in
除此之外呢
Asia.
我们还考察了亚洲一体化，
In addition,
那么还有服务贸易、
we've taken a look at
这个数
service
字贸
trade,
易，
digital
还有
trade,
旅游市场。
and the tourism
那么从
market.
服务贸易角度来说呢，
In terms of a service trade,
它没有发生太大的变化。刚才呢，
there
张
hasn't
院
been
所长
any
呢
big
也介绍了
change.
亚洲服务贸易的发展。
And the
我这边增加一
director
点
Zhang
就是
Yuan has
亚洲
talked
服务
about
贸易
changes
首
in
次
trading
体现
service in Asia. For service trade in
这是
Asia,
一
for the
个
first time,
新的
Asia
变化。
has registered
我本人呢
a
也没有去
surplus,
挖
a
掘为
trade
什么
surplus.
这个顺差
I have not
从哪来的
deep dived
什么
into
这个
why
但是顺差
and
首
its
次
sources, but for the first
那么
time,
另外一个
there has been a
重要的一
surplus
点
of
就
a
是
service
我
trade
们也试图考察
enjoyed by
亚洲一体
Asia.
化它的
At
是
the
不是在
same
增强？
time,
看这个旅游，
we are looking
这个
at
旅游的全面恢复
tourism
恢复可
markets.
能还需要一段
Well, it
时
still
间。
takes time
但
for
是
the
确实
all-round
亚洲出现
recovery
了
of tourism in Asia. That said,
155%。
we have registered 155 growth rate in 2023 in terms of tourist arrivals or inbound tourism into
那
Asia,
配套的这个
leading the rest
措
of
施
the
呢
world.，
很多国家
And
还实
many
行了
economies have initiated the supporting measures, such as simplification of
改革签证制
entry
度
procedures,
和改
uh,
这个实现这个
visa
支付
facilitation, and the facilitation of
便利化
payment,
这个相互协调不同支付体制 这样的
coordination of
举措，
different
那么
payment
作为
regimes, for
促进
example.
这个
Amongst other
亚洲旅
amongst
游。
other things, to promote
那
further
么前面
growth
我们的
in
报告
tourism in
反复
Asia.
强调了
My
亚洲的
report
旅
has
游
been
主要
said
是
repetitively
亚洲游。
that for
亚洲
tourism
人一
in
般的都
Asia,
是到
it is
亚洲。
mostly
那么
intra-Asia
呢，
tourism.
这个特征呢，是
Most
我们
Asians would
看
go
待亚洲
to
一体
fellow
化
Asian
一个
countries
非
for
常重要
tourism.
的。
That's a very important part of Asian integration.
除此之外，我们考察了对外投资。
In addition, we've taken a look at
这个对外投资呢，
FDI
在
outflows
2022年全球
or FDI.
就是表现不太好的。
Well, in
但是这个特征
2022, the global performance
亚洲
of FDI was
流入
not
的
good, but
资金
for
包括从
FDI
欧美流入到亚
inflows
洲的
into Asia, including those from North America and
世
Europe,
界上很多
there
国家
was
把东
growth.
盟
Many
视为
external economies around the
未
world
来
have regarded
经
ASEAN
济全
as
球化的一个领跑者。
a
所
leader,
以我们现在
a
谈
leading runner
区域
in
全球化
globalization going forward. When we talk about
实际上
regionalization
这个
and
词儿
globalization,
能够就是说当之无愧的是在东盟。
ASEAN is a perfect example.
在金融方面，
Now talking about
我们呢
financial sector,
一直关心的一个问题就是亚洲应该有一个
We've
足够
always
大的
focused on the need for
这
Asia
个金融市场，
to have
来
a big
承
enough
受
financial market
亚洲自身
to
庞大的储蓄，
absorb a tremendous amount of savings in Asia. That's the first task. And the second order priority is to provide services for other markets. According to 2022 statistics, 18% of portfolios were allocated to Asia. For Asian economies, portfolio outflows amounted to $10.4 trillion, while inflows amounted to $8.8 trillion. Still, there was a deficit or net outflow. Hence, the need for Asia to further expand its own financial market in terms of breadth and depth. Some progress has been made over the past couple of years, but we are expecting more.
那么这就是我们报告的这个基本的情况。谢谢各位媒体，这个耐心聆听，谢谢。
非常感谢林校，林校这个代表我们写作团队回答了这个亚洲人买亚洲、亚洲人投亚洲、亚洲人游亚洲这样的问题，就整个的趋势啊。好，那下面第3部分，我们请张所长再给我们简单的介绍一下。
Attractive for investment. Next speaker would be Mr. Zhang.
这个亚洲经济啊，刚才说到展望的时候呢，其实还有一些特别值得关注的一些问题。在这里呢，在这个报告里啊，我们特别谈到了4个问题。那么第一个呢，就是和刚才我提到的林校长也特别谈到的这个
Previous speakers and myself both talk about the upgrading of
对世界经济碎片化
The RCEPs
这个到底有什么关系？我们知道，全球经济的它
What would be the impacts of these upgrades to global economic fragmentation?
但另外一方面呢，我们又看到呢，这个不同的区域地区的这个贸易投资的这个协定，不断的涌现。最近这10几年呢，是出现的频率最多的，数量也是最多的。那么这两者之间的关系到底是什么？所以这个是我们关注的一个问题，这也是一个热点问题。那第二个热点问题呢，就是全球南方全球治理。我们知道全球南方呢，现在是全球经济增长最大的贡献者，也是全球经济治理的改革和建设的重要推动力量。那么在过去1年里，全球南方它的声音越来越被人们所听到那么全球南方主要是发展国家新经济他们的诉求这个上升，那么怎么在进一步的全球治理方面，进一步的发挥全球南方的作用？这个呢是一个重要的议题，因为亚洲很多国家都属于全球南方，包括中国自己在内。那么第3个热点问题呢，就是亚洲服务贸易协定的这个发展。那么亚洲服务贸易有一个叫 RTA 那么现在正在谈判。那么这个成员这些谈判的不断的这个深入，目的呢是为了进一步降低服务贸易壁垒，提升市场准入水平，推动服务贸易的自由化。我们看到亚洲，刚才我在介绍的时候也说到，就亚洲的这个贸易，商品贸易的增速和这个服务贸易它是不一样的。那不一样的，所以呢，亚洲服务贸易协定这个达成这个对整个亚洲的贸易都起到重要的作用这是第3个热点。第4个热点呢是人工智能的进展与挑战。我们知道去年人工智能，特别是ChatGPT 这个发展，那么到今年以越来越快的速度令人眼花缭乱的这个速度在推进。那么人工智能的发展它在改变着人类的社会生活，在改变着世界。那么同样呢，也为亚洲的经济合作、经济发展呢提供新的机遇，但同时呢，也会带来一些挑战。 所以这也是我们关注的一个热点问题。好，我就在这简单的介绍一下。好，谢谢。
好 ，Thank you， 特别感谢张所长。那么我们就经过2位专家的这个介绍解读，我们可以看到，整体来讲，就我们报告研究团队认为，这个亚洲经济2024年亚洲经济增长还有地区经济一体化的动能仍然强劲，整体的总体的经济表现值得期待。好，让我们再次感谢2位专家。那么我们马上进入第2份报告的这个解读阶段。
Now let's move to the interpretation and briefing of the second report.
好，我们有请我们第2份报告的三位专家。
Three experts, the drafters for this second report.
So thank you for the great interest of the audience. So next, let us move into the second report, Striding Towards Zero Carbon Electricity Era and Bolstering Green Development in Asia. 那么今天呢，我们很荣幸地请到了新开发银行周强武副行长 ，Mr. 周强武 Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer of New Development Bank。中国电力企业联合会规划发展部张林主任。德勤中国刘明华首席质量和转型官，非常感谢3位和我一起进行报告的解读。那么我们这份报告呢，这个分为4个部分。对不起啊 ，PPT。分为4个部分，是亚洲电力转型的现状与挑战、电力市场和价格机制对亚洲电力转型的作用、亚洲零碳未来展望，以及迈向零碳电力时代的亚洲合作机制建设。那么，我们希望通过这份报告发出的2个重要的讯息，一个是在迈向零碳电力的征程上，亚洲可以依靠丰富的自然资源禀赋、强大的清洁生产技术制造能力、巨量的清洁能源投资。和多维度全方位的国际合作，就是我们觉得这是的 pathway， 这是我们的一个路径。那么第2个呢，是无论是从0到1的开发阶段，还是从1到100的快速增长阶段，都需要精心的政策和市场机制的安排。那么碳价格是一种绿色环境的价值。那么在这里呢，碳价格可以成为电力价格机制的重要组成部分，可以和电力市场的改革有机的结合。好，那么首先呢，我想有请我们报告写作团队中电联的张林主任为我们来介绍第1章。
CEC to brief us the Chapter 1.
好，各位来宾啊，这媒体朋友，大家好。我介
Good
绍的
morning.
第1章是这个
Chapter
亚洲电力
1
转型
is
的
on the
现状啊、挑战和这
current
个应对的
status,
这个措施。
opportunities, and challenges of power transformation in Asia.
大家知道这个推动实现全球二氧化碳净零排放啊，这个电力行业将发挥主力军的作用啊。这个风能怎么用，太阳能怎么用啊，都是以转换成电能的这个方式为主啊。这个工业建筑、交通啊，它的这个绿色转型啊，主要也是通过这个以电代煤、以电代油啊，实施这个电能替代啊。所以电能的这个核心地位或者说它的主力军作用啊更加凸显啊。这个当前亚洲 洲的这个电力和热力系统温室气体排放量占这个亚洲总的排放量近40%，那么未来随着亚洲终端能源电气化水平的这个不断提升，以及工业建筑交通领域的绿色转型，相应的碳减排责任也会向这个电力行业转移那么在这样的这个背景下，大力推进电力的低碳转型，对这个亚洲能源消费升级这个更好的参与应对气候变化、全球治理
very important to address climate change and globalization challenges.
就是这个电力消费保持较快的增长。2022年亚洲总用电量是14.5万亿千瓦时，占全球用电量的50.5%。2013年到2022年年均增长4.7%，这个比全球同期的水平高出2.3个百分点。那么从亚洲内部看，东北亚区域的这个用电规模用电量的这个占比是最高的，那么南亚区域的用电增长最快这样的一些特点。那么从这个供给上看发电装机快速增长，电源结构持续优化。那么截止到2022年底，亚洲发电总装机达到45亿千瓦。2013年到2022年年均增长5.8%。那么其中风能、太阳能发电装机合计这个占比是2%，较2013年提高了18个百分点应该说这个绿色转型这个加速电源结构持续优化。那么同时水电、核电等清洁能源的这个也保持了较快的
from 2013. Additionally, the hydropower and other
从这个电网的这个作用看大电网对新能源资源管理的作用更加凸显。这个区域电网的互联互通在那么中国依托这个全球规模最大的这个交直流混合电网，支撑了这个7.6亿千瓦新能源的这个供给和销纳。
AC and DC hybrid power grid
中国的新能源发展规模是这个7.6亿千瓦。到2023年底，新能源已经突破了10个亿
consumption from the grid and had exceeded 1.5 billion kW. And last year, the new energy increase reached almost 300 million kW. And the Southeast Asian countries, the power grid integration also take initial shape. And provide this physical grid system for absorbing new energy sources like hydro, wind, and PV.
这个主要的经济体新能源超预期发展。
economies, the rapid new energy development, and also the new trend for trade protectionism also impose challenges for the further transition and transformation in Asian countries. Threefold challenges. The first is the high ratio of the new energy cause the fundamental changes of the balance of the power supply and demand. It would also impose the power supply security challenges. We need to speed up the formation of a scientific and reasonable power supply structure through the smart, intelligent power grid to optimize the grid structure and to coordinate various energy sources. Second is the renewable energy uses with the higher requirements of new energy development. We need to make
需要积极推动网联合处一体化发展，网联合处一体化发展，推广应用先进高效的新能源发电，有性直流输电技术，长周期的这个新型储能技术
，transmission and grid.
等等吧，一些
This is so-called integrated development of the power structure. We should step up the demand side management. In the past, we talk about the power sources being adjusted based on the load, grid load. However, with the renewable energies volatility and uncertainties, we require the reversed change. That means the load need to be adaptive to the sources. So this is the new feature for the development of renewable energy sources. This is also related to the demand side management. We need to pay more attention to demand side.
来完善新能源参与电力市场的机制，加强绿电贸易政府间的合作，通过这样一些措施。那么3是碳关税和碳成本传导的问题。那么当前主要是碳关税核算体系这个碳定价的这个标准这个缺乏国际共识缺乏国际共识。亚洲作为全球主要的这个生产工厂。如果说是这个实施单边的碳关税将冲击自由开放的多边贸易体系，不利于世界经济的复苏增长。那么需要倡导各国就应对气候变化加强沟通，维护发展中国家的正当权益，共同推进气候变化合作和国际规则标准。那么倡导这个减排量与生产和消费国之间的合理分配这个抑制这个生产侧的这个碳排放这个鼓励这个节能发展，同时要在消费侧也要体现出这个减碳的这个需要减碳的这个作用。
or imposing all responsibilities on the producing countries. For example, we need to establish a carbon footprint accounting mechanism as well. Carbon pricing should feature international standards based on international consensus. With those measures potentially in place, the carbon tariff and related issues will be resolved. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mr. Zhang.
好，下边我代表写作团队介绍一下我们第2章这个电力市场和价格机制对亚洲电力转型的作用。那么在这里呢，我们都注意到，现在亚洲很多国家都在加快建立电力市场。那么我们首先看看电力价格我们比较了一下，就是亚洲电价的水平在全球还是具有很强的竞争力的，这也是对亚洲这个现在制造业繁荣起到一个很好的支撑作用。那么但不过呢，区内的电价水平差异还是比较大的。我们这做了2张图，对不起，我们这个第2张图就是这2张图没有英文的。那么可以看得出来呢，就是现在整个的工业电价。
For industrial electricity consumption is usually higher than household electricity consumption. That's different from developed economies, advanced economies. For example, we are using some of the charges from industrial users to subsidize residential use of electricity. And with coal and natural gas price cost rises, it has brought about major cost pressure generators
就是现在像中国呀、韩国呀，我们的就是这个电价的收入，它占整个电价占整个收入的这个比重，就是燃煤成本占电价收入的比重，从60%上升到近2年的80%左右。那么在这种情况下，那我们要想迈向零碳电力时代呢，那么这里我们就需要更加 这个我们为这清洁能源、清洁电力的生产要提供更多的激励。那么在这里呢，我们认为呢，要把绿色环境的价值融入到电力价格之中，那么这个是关键。那么显性，特别是显性的这个定价，显性的碳定价的信号，应该在电价中有更好的体现。这样呢，不仅仅能够提高清洁能源的这个生产的优势，同时也能够加强对碳排放的这个约束。目前呢，很多的亚洲国家都已经在积极的建立了碳定价的机制了。那么像韩国啊、哈萨克斯坦啊、中国呀、日本、印度啊、印尼啊这些国家。那么，但是呢，我们测算也发现了，现在碳价在电力价格中的体现还是非常明显。另外呢，在这里我们也引用了世界银行的一份报告，就世界银行的报告认为呢，如果要实现这个温升控制在2度以内的目标的话，那么2020年的时候，碳定价全球的碳定价就应该达到这每吨40到80美元。但是到2030年的时候呢，需要达到50到100美元的水平。那么按照这个水平来比呢，我们亚洲国家的这个碳定价的水平还是现在是非常低的。那么在电力的转型的过程中呢，我们可以看到这个除了最基本的这个电量价值，也就大家你用1度这个电量应该付多少钱？还有我们刚才说的环境价值之外呢，现在还很强调这个可靠性价值、调节价值，这也就是现在说的容量电价、辅助服务费用，就这些应该在新一代的电力系统这个价格中得到体现。那么而特别是就是煤电呢，要逐渐转变它的角色。那煤电的角色呢？要刚才张蕊提到了，要从基础的负荷呢转向这个灵活调节的作用。那么现在对于煤电企业还有抽水蓄能电站来讲，价格的激励也非常重要。那么这个时候，容量电价呢就成为他们能够回收固定成本的重要手段。这也就是去年中国也推出了这个2步制电价，在煤电啊还有抽水蓄能这方面。那么总之，这个随着那么随着这整个的电源的多元化。还有远距离的传送、新能源消纳这些因素，那么电力价格本身的制定方面也需要进一步的科学化。这也就为什么现在我们在这个电力价格呢已经开始就是进一步的改革。那么特别是平均成本加上合理收益的这样的一种方式，可能未来应该有更多元化的定价。我们强调的呢是说，现在就这种纯粹靠生产价格定价的这种方式，应该逐渐的向供需是吧？用供需平衡来决定电力价格的这样的一种形式。那么总之，在我们看到的相关的问题，这里头有一系列相关的问题。我们看到的问题呢，现在目前比较突出的，包括能源转型确实推动了这个终端电价的上涨压力，但是实际上我们现在向终端用电传导这个电价还是非常有限的。第二点呢是碳价向电价的传导是不够的。那么第三个呢是电力市场发展呢现在在起步阶段，我们电价的弹性啊，还有整个的系统的灵活性是不足的。提出的相关的建议呢，迅速的说一下。那么这个建议呢，一个是要深化电力市场的改革，那么要逐步建立由市场的供需作为这个电价决定的决定因素。一个重要的推动力。第二个呢是市场化的机制，就让电力的价格反映这个碳价的环境价值和社会的成本，激发电力企业能够更多的使用绿色清洁的能源，还有同时激励消费者能更多的去使用绿电。那么最后呢，就还有进一步的完善这个辅助的服务定价，就是输电网更大的主动权。好，感谢大家。那下面我们请刘明华刘总介绍第
independence to transmission network as well. Those are our recommendations. Ms. Liu, please talk about the third chapter.
曹院长，各位嘉宾，各位媒体的朋友们，大家上午好。那德勤呢，作为博鳌论坛20年的合作伙伴，非常荣幸这一次能够再一次参与我们2024年这个旗舰报告的编写。那今年的旗舰报告的这个主题呢是非常聚焦的。分析了绿电的这个现状，研究总结了未来的趋势，那也从电力市场的建设、价格机制、商业模式、技术应用、多边合作的角度呢，探讨了迈向零碳电力的行动。那第3章呢是德勤和东电联联合共同完成的报告。那我现在呢就是代表我们联合报告团队呢和各位来分享一下第3章亚洲零碳电力展望的主要的研究成果。那主要呢是从供给和需求两端来分析。那首先呢从这个供给端，在亚洲呢电力这个需求呢保持非常快速的一个增长，在绿色加速的情景下面，清洁电能这个能源的发展呢持续的发力，减少对于化石能源的这个依赖，风能、太阳能发电装机规模呢迅速的增长。核电和水电呢，规模的增长呢次之。亚洲呢将构建多元化清洁能源的供应体系。预计呢到2060年，亚洲的电源装机规模较2020年呢增长要有3倍。其中呢风电和太阳能占了70%，是这个风电和太阳能超过100亿千瓦。那除了电源的发展，在供给端呢还要考虑亚洲电网的互联，有效的互联会极大提升我们电力的使用效率，促进了区域的这个发展。从电网格局的互联来看，亚洲区域内能源的分布呢是不均衡的。通过互联互通，能够实现能源的需求和高质量、低价格清洁能源的优化进行配置，以及呢节省清洁电力和储能方面的投资。典型的互联格局包括中俄韩日在东北亚地区的跨国的电力合作网络的这个合作，东南亚的东盟电网呢采取渐进式发展，中亚的统一电力系统的建设。在众多的这个多边和双边的论坛上呢，亚洲各国的领导都明确有意向深化区域合作的能源合作，实现跨区域的互联互通，包括呢在东南亚建设2个层级的区域的网络，并且呢与周边国家互联。那中亚富裕电力呢在亚欧大陆的优化配置，以及南亚呢成为亚洲复合的南中心等等这样的议题。那这些相关的举措呢，在跨区域互联呢正在纷纷的展开之中，这促进实现国家电网互联互通，构建区域共同电力市场，促进亚欧大陆经济的共同的发展和繁荣。那刚才呢是讲了供给端，那我们现在呢从需求端来也再看一下，作为全球电力需求增长最快速的区域，亚洲呢正在迅速的推动终端用能向零碳电力过渡。虽然亚洲各个国家在电力供应水平和转型步伐上各自的这个速度和发展的成熟度不同，但都各自依据各自电力系统的实际情况，都制定了雄心勃勃的绿电发展的策略。那在政策的支持、新兴技术、市场需求等多重因素的催化底下，虚拟电厂、点对点的能源的交易的平台、智能化能源的订阅服务，以及呢随用随付这样的一些灵活的价格方式和滤证的追踪等新兴的商业模式呢，都在不断的涌现，并且推动整个的零碳电力的发展。那也为亚洲的绿色能源市场呢注入了新的活力。亚洲各国呢加强气候的治理，推进可持续发展，这是一个大背景。在这个背景下面呢，零碳电力所具备的低碳、清洁、高效的属性呢，正在日趋展现它的价值。近年来呢，亚洲各国呢围绕绿色电力消费的监管政策呢，加速的落地，社会各界以及投资方对企业的可持续发展呢表现出这个关注度呢也是不断的在提升的，以及来自供应链的 减碳的目标在供应链上传导下来的多重因素呢，其实都是在促使企业将绿色电力消费纳入发展的战略。近年来呢，中国的绿电市场不断的扩容，绿色电力市场交易的机制不断的完善。2023年，中国绿电交易的这个正电合一模式呢，有了一个明确，促进了绿电交易认可度的提升。那我们期待呢，未来绿正国际互认的推动，可以进一步提升绿电消费产品在国际贸易市场当中的绿色竞争力，从而加快绿色亚洲的绿色发展的进程。那我们讲了需求，讲了供给，最后呢讲一讲最重要的技术，因为技术的赋能是亚洲迈向零碳电力时代的关键的引擎。一方面呢，光伏、风电、储能等新兴能源技术在政策、资本和应用的推动下，加快这个迭代的速度，带来了更加安全、更加经济、更加高效的能源的解决方案。那另一方面呢，数字化和智能化的技术为新一代电力系统全面赋能，提高零碳电力的可靠性、灵活性，并大幅呢提升这个用户的体验。2023年，亚洲是全球对于清洁电力投资最热门的区域，总投资呢高达3730亿美元，占了全球清洁电力投资的一半以上。同时，我们也看到亚洲各国在关键技术领域各有所长，应用的场景非常的广阔。我们期待呢，未来亚洲各国进一步扩大零碳电力关键技术的投资，加强合作对话，携手迈向零碳电力的新时代。
非常感谢刘总。Last but not least, let us welcome Vice President and Chief Administrative Officer of New Development Bank, Mr. 周强武, to give us a summary on the last chapter, Chapter 4. Please, the floor is yours.
好，尊敬的各位来宾。
Honorable guests, media friends, ladies and gentlemen, after more than 1 hour's dialogue and exchanges, thank you for your continued focus and attention. It's not so easy because it's a very professional topic to be followed. I congratulate for the issuance of this professional report from green transition to development and investment and to power market. Actually, flagship reports focus on the core issues each year, summarize global experiences and put forward recommendations. So actually we are sharing Asian experiences to impact the whole globe. The New Development Bank for the past consecutive 3 years collaborating with BFA Academy for the report going forward. We want to continuously to contribute our professional capabilities to the drafting of the report. On behalf of the drafting team, I want to share with you the Chapter 4, Building Cooperation Mechanism in Asia towards the Zero Carbon Electricity Era. As previous 3 experts already shared for Asia, for the energy transition, we are facing numerous challenges. Asian countries cannot work alone in silo to cope those challenges. Only by working together we can create and build a greener future. Fortunately, on various levels, Asian countries have collaborated on the topic of green power on 4 aspects. The multi-level dialogue and exchange mechanisms have been established in Asian countries at the political level and regional level. We have established a lot of mechanisms to promote green power topic and reform among these Asian countries and different types of platforms have become the key force for promoting collaboration for green collaboration. Second is we have in-depth cooperation in the new energy industries. Asian countries have different endowment of resources and have its own advantages. In 2023, for the top 500 new energy companies, 63.8% are from Asia. Through the conventional energy combined with new energy, this integration modality, we have achieved a win-win landscape. And through this research and design and integrated application, the Asian countries have shifted from a catching up player to the forerunners. And third is Green Investment and Financing Cooperation Mechanism have been established. According to our estimation, the gap for the investment and financing for Asian countries for green development is more than 300 million. So in Asian countries, many bilateral, multilateral funds have already been created to promote green energy projects. For example, the BRI projects had issued the green investment principles for BRI, and with multiple development institutions, collaboration being further deepened, and had many successful cases, one after another. Fourth is the international coordination of carbon trading mechanisms and carbon market connectivities, and to send the important market signal to the market and to guide more investments. Article 6 of Paris Agreement calling for international coordination. This is the new momentum and driving force for the international cooperation. Many countries have already established trading mechanisms for transactions like CDM. To help with finance and to honor the NDC commitment of each individual country. And also from the voluntary mechanism to the more stringent initiatives. Asia represents 83.2% of such projects. Looking ahead, there are many potentials for Asian countries. We have the following policy recommendations for the release, the potential and the intergovernmental electricity initiatives in guiding and coordinating cross-border green energy cooperation, and also to improve the policy frameworks and coordinate the international cooperation platforms and explore the new modalities for cross-border cooperation, including promoting carbon price linkage among countries, and also to promote the PPP dialogues between governmental agencies and private sectors to tap into more financing and investment resources, and we should collaborate more with the New Development Bank, ADB, and IIB, to name just a few, to prepare the project, to mobilize the private capitals and the knowledge sharing, and to explore the connectivities of the price market and allowing the cross-border and cross-market transaction and investment. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, as the first ever
新开行始终以绿色发展
multilateral development institutions only initiated by the developing countries. Our mission and mandate is green focus. You can see our logo is in green color. So in the future, we are going to invest millions of dollars into the green market. We want to solemnly commit during this annual conference that we will continuously to collaborate with the BFA and also all the countries in this regard. Finally, I look forward to your continued attention to the new development bank and warmly welcome all of you to visit the headquarters in Shanghai. It's a new landmark building and this also a showcase for the sharing.
非常感谢周行长。那么强武行长最后还植入了广告，但是呢，我们也非常开心，我们和 NDB 是保持了几年的报告协作团队合作，就像刚才明华总提到的，我们和德勤也是。这当然中电联是我们今年这个加入的，非常感谢中电联对本次报告的这个协作做出了重大的贡献。此外呢，我们还有2位专家，GGGI 的李尚，就 CICC 中金全球研究院的陈继总，他们2位对我们提供了这个就整个报告的写作做出了细心的这个指导。那么这次报告呢，它的专业程度非常的高，那么数据很密集，图表很多，信息量很大。那么为了更好的推荐这个报告呢，我们专家呢一会儿会留下来这个做报告的这个解读。所以如果媒体朋友要有进一步的兴趣的话，可以参加我们之后安排的这个媒体专访。好的，那么非常感谢大家。就像我们的秘书长在刚开始的时候提到的，我们今年2份报告的写作，还有包括我们前几年这个2份报告的写作，都是为了传递博鳌亚洲论坛，推进亚洲经济发展和一体化以及可持续发展的坚定的决心。那么这里呢，需要我们每一个人努力。非常感谢大家的关注，谢谢。好，这次发布会到此结束。
That's the end of the press conference. Thank you for your attention.
女士们、先生们，请将同传设备留在座位上或归还给工作人员。感谢您的配合。
Ladies and gentlemen, please leave your interpretation device on your chair or hand it over to our staff. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
女士们、先生们，请将同传设备留在座位上或归还给工作人员。感谢您的配合。
Ladies and gentlemen, please leave your
Thank you.